Hi, everybody, and welcome to Wolverine Football 97, along with Michigan defensive nose tackle Rob Renas. I'm Dave Rosenbluth, and Michigan jumps ahead to 3-0 in the non-conference record, knocking off Notre Dame on Saturday, 21-14. And anytime you beat Notre Dame, regardless of their record, it's a big-time win. But also in this game, Rob, you guys fought through a lot of tough situations, still knocked them off, and came up with a W.
Yeah, we were very fortunate. You know, in the first half, they got some drives together, and Notre Dame put the first 2 touchdowns on the scoreboard against us this year. So we were fortunate enough to get three scores. And that was enough.
This was definitely a game of swings, though. In the first half, at least statistically wise, Notre Dame outplayed Michigan 100% pretty much when you look at the stats. Then in the second half, we'll get to that in a minute, but then in the second half, Michigan came out, scored some touchdowns, defense got rolling, and then we moved into the fourth quarter, and Michigan struggled offensively. Momentum and swings was a big part of this game. It always is, though, Rob.
Yeah, definitely. Without the swings, we would have been, we might have lost 42-0. But yeah, we were fortunate. We got our act together, and we came through in the second half.
Notre Dame, though, came out physical. We knew they would. We talked about it last week, especially their offensive line, I thought played well.
Yeah, there were some pretty big guys. It was the biggest line we faced so far. Who knows, Wisconsin, and then, of course, this week with Indiana, we've got, some pretty big lines we got to face also. But, yeah, they came out physical, and Notre Dame, Michigan, it's always physical.
All right, we got some highlights to show you. Let's roll that first half. Michigan and Notre Dame Saturday afternoon. We pick it up. The 6th largest crowd at Michigan Stadium. The Wolverines storming out 2-0. They become 3-0. And on the first 2 possessions, neither team moved the ball, but it's Notre Dame's second possession. Ron Paulus, he finds Johnson here for the first down, and Notre Dame was rolling from the start. Paulus then looking for Johnson, 34-yard gain, and Andre Weathers just gets beat on this play. And then Ron Paulus again goes to the air. He avoids the pressure, rolls right, finds Bobby Brown, and Brown brings it all the way down to the 7-yard line before he's pushed out. A holding penalty pushed Notre Dame back, but then it didn't matter. Paulus, again to Bobby Brown, touchdown. Paulus was 6 for 6 on this drive. Notre Dame jumps out to the 7-0 lead, 78 yards in 12 plays for the go-ahead touchdown to start things off. But Michigan, the next possession, came right back. 3rd and 5, Greasy to Russell Shaw, good for 13 yards. And then Greasy looking downfield. He'll find Ty Streets, and look at this catch, a 21-yard gain. Great hands here shown on the replay, Rob.
Yeah, Ty's a fast guy, but his hands are a tremendous asset. You can't say enough about.
3rd and 9, we head into the second quarter. Greasy looking for Jeremy Tooman, finds him. He's pushed out around the 9-yard line, 13-yard gain. And then Clarence Williams, Michigan ties things up, 4-yard touchdown run. We're tied at 7, 66 yards in 11 plays. Late second quarter, Michigan comes on, and Vincent punts it. 53-yard punt. It's a good one, and it goes all the way down to the 2-yard line. Aaron Shea downs it there, and Notre Dame only had a couple of minutes to drive, but they would start it there. A 98-yard drive. It started with Denson. 10-yard run, good for 14 yards. Then Paulus goes to the air. He'll find Johnson, good for another first down, pushed out of bounds. Plenty of time on that play, and then Paulus again. He'll step into the pocket on this one, completes it down to the 15-yard line, and then once again, 2nd and 7. Ron Paulus drops back. He'll find Nelson, a 10-yard gain. He's pushed down to the 2, and that would set up Tony Driver. He's a true freshman. His first touchdown, 2-yard run, 14-7. Notre Dame gets the lead. 98-yard drive in just 11 plays, and that was a big drive there for Notre Dame to end the first half. The defense struggled a little bit in that first half.
Yeah, we're not proud of that, but they threw a few things at us that we didn't get ready for. We weren't sound in our defenses, and we let them score, and we had to go into halftime and find out what was wrong, and then make the adjustment for the second half.
225 yards of offense for Notre Dame, and they almost doubled you guys in terms of the time of possession. Was a fatigue a factor there in that last drive?
Of the game or of the half?
Of the half.
Well, we were only out there for a half football, so we're fairly decent condition. So fatigue really wasn't a factor. It was just a factor of getting our heels set and getting out there and playing. They kept coming at us, and we didn't regroup in time.
I noticed Ron Paulus had a lot of long counts. He was changing things up a little bit. Some of the linebackers got a little antsy there. Did that throw off your guys' timing and what you guys were doing defensively?
Oh, definitely. With the longer count, you weren't sure. Right. He was making different audibles and different checks to where our linemen were. That on the blitzes and stuff like that. Of course it messes up the timing.
You just mentioned about the halftime adjustments. We've talked about this in the last 2 shows, but obviously real changes went on at halftime.
Yeah, this is the first time we went into halftime, and let alone giving up the score, we were behind. So, yeah, we had to go in and figure out how it was that they had 2 long drives against us and what we needed to change about that. And you know, we knew we had good attitude and we had good enthusiasm. We just had to get our stuff together and, you know, regroup.
What about Coach Carr dressing you guys at halftime? What types of things? Is he an emotional guy, inspirational, or what does he go with in terms of what he's
a little bit of all the best things that you could ask for in a motivator. You know, he just keeps reiterating that, you know, this is Michigan and it's our home field and that, you know, we should stand up and fight for it.
All right, so Michigan down. The first time they'd be down in a situation like this, 14-7. Second half highlights. Let's take a look at them. Michigan would come out strong, though. Ensuing kickoff of the second half, Clarence Thomas fields the ball. 28-yard return and gives Michigan a spark down to the 43-yard line. And then Michigan comes out passing. Brian Greasy finds Ty Streets, good for 15 yards. He's pushed out around the 44-yard line. And one play later, Greasy drops back. He'll find Ty Streets here, a play reminiscent of the Ohio State game last year, and he's gone. 41-yard touchdown for Streets. He was 3 receptions for 71 yards. Game's tied up at 14, and Michigan's right back in it. One of those momentum swings. Michigan then comes back on defense, and the defense made those adjustments we were talking about. Handoff to Barry, Hendricks, and Jones there on the stop. Then 3rd and 8, a screen pass to Denson. He'll run for nearly a first down here, but a penalty by Notre Dame. A legal block, a key penalty here, 13-yard penalty, 10 penalties for 92 yards for Notre Dame. Another penalty cost Notre Dame 3rd and 22. Denson stopped by Taylor, forcing Notre Dame to punt, and then Charles Woodson. He's got a little seam here, and he gets tripped up, but he still goes through the middle, good for 20 yards, and Michigan's offense is back at it. 3rd and 8, Greasy. He'll find Williams. Williams runs around the end, picks up the first down. He's pushed out at the 18. And then this would set up from the 14-yard line. Chris Floyd gets around the end, gets a block. He'll score the touchdown. Michigan 21-14. Look at the replay here, Rob. Some great blocking.
Yeah, we practice against these guys every day, and you know, I know what those Notre Dame guys were facing. Hey, they stay on their blocks, and they really do a good job.
First play of the fourth quarter, Michigan back on offense. Greasy rolls out, play fake, looking for Aaron Shea, the tight end. Shea will catch it, a great grab, but then the ball pops loose. Notre Dame recovers in Michigan territory, so the Notre Dame offense back at it. 3rd and 9, Paulus. He'll find Nelson. He'll hooked up with him 7 times in the afternoon. This one good for a first down. And then a play later, Paulus will roll out again. This time he'll find Malcolm Johnson. Johnson catches it. He's pushed out, and Notre Dame's rolling again. And then Paulus inside the 10. He'll roll out, buy some time. Renis comes in with a little pressure. He avoids him, though. And then big interception here by Tommy Hendricks. Notre Dame not capitalizing on the opportunity, and Bob Davies not happy about it at all. You think he's a little stressful with the 1-3 record, but he would get some more gifts coming up. Michigan back on offense. Clarence Williams gets the carry. He'll pick up 4 yards and a play later. Michigan back to the air, another turnover. Greasy finds Russell Shaw. Again, similar situation. The catch, the fumble, Notre Dame gets possession. Another look, Rob.
Yeah, you know, this is just a tough play. This is one of those football plays where you dread, you just hope you don't have too many of them.
Second consecutive possession, 2 turnovers for Michigan. Defense back at it. Look at Andre Weathers, number 30, comes in off the option, stops Paulus for no gain. A couple plays later then, another Michigan defensive stop. Marcus Ray will make the hit, and then on 3rd down, they break up a pass forcing Notre Dame to punt. So Michigan offense back at it. This a fumbled snap, although there was a penalty on this play, so this wasn't one of the turnovers. Offsides Michigan, offense completely out of sync. Michigan would come out of a timeout then. This is what they talked about, a fumble. Obviously, they didn't talk about it, but this offense falling apart. Another look at it, a poor exchange here between Greasy and Floyd.
Yeah, this is one of those things that you just cringe when you see it. You know, it was a mistake that, you know, you really just hope you don't make too many of them.
So Michigan defense would be there to bail them out one more time. Denson will get the carry. He'll bring it down to the 21-yard line. A few plays later, 4th and 2, a key play of the game here, Rob. Talk about what you guys do defensively.
Well, 4th and 2, we knew we needed to stop them. You know, this was a game. That's what we talked about in the huddle, and we knew we stopped them here. We knew our offense would get together, and we knew they'd run out the clock, so we had to stop them here.
Well, they didn't the previous 3 times, but the offense would come back on. They had about 3 minutes of time to kill starting at the 20. They go to the ground attack now. Clarence Williams runs around the end. He'd pick up 6 yards, but the key in this drive was just keeping that clock moving up by 7. And then Chris Howard, a big play here. He'll start right, but then he breaks it left in an individual effort. 27-yard gain for Chris Howard. He brings it all the way down to the Notre Dame 47-yard line. Big play there. Howard likes it, and then you know what? He get it again. They're going with what works. Howard gets a block from Floyd. He'll pick up 9 on this play. And then 4th and 3, Michigan decides not to punt. They'd go for the first down for the win. Howard again, he gets the block. He gets the first down. Michigan gets the win. Coach Carr is ecstatic about it, showing a little emotion like we talked about, and Michigan starts off the non-conference record 3-0. I know we always going to talk about unity on this team. It's a team effort, but the bottom line is you're on defense, but offensively, Michigan just can't afford to do what they did in that 4th quarter there.
No, with the Big Ten season, we know no one went out there and intentionally tried to drop the ball. Just some mistakes, like I said, that we have to try and correct, and hope that we don't have too many of those in the future. Like you said, in the Big Ten, if we were to make those mistakes again, we might not be as fortunate.
Let's talk about some individual efforts here. First of all, MVP of the game, Sam Sword. I thought he did it quietly, but 15 tackles.
Yeah, whenever you have 15 tackles, if you're not the MVP, then you're mighty close. So yeah, Sam had a heck of a game. He had some real crunchers for hits, and like you said, he made a few quiet tackles, but he was always around.
Another guy, Greasy actually talked about him being his MVP on offense, was Chris Floyd. He came back after being suspended for the Baylor game last week. A touchdown that you guys saw, 7 carries for 41 yards, 4 receptions for 35 yards. Talk about his role on offense.
Hey, Chris Floyd, I tell you what, when he comes out and blocks it, he's going to block it. And if he doesn't knock your jock off, you may wish that he would have, because he'll really make your head ring. He's a tremendous blocker, and when he gets the ball, he really gets the job done.
And one more guy on defense, Tommy Hendricks played a lot recently. He had that interception there in the 4th quarter. He's been a key guy in the secondary.
Yeah, definitely, like you said, whether he's starting or he's coming in off the bench, Tommy really knows how to lay some licks, and like you said, he showed some great hands in that interception. Just like everyone else, he's a big link in that defense.
Laying some licks always comes in your conversation. Anyway, Coach Carr has always talked to the media after the game. This is what he had to say.
Obviously, it's a heck of a win for us, and we got a long way to go. We got to take care of the football, and we didn't do that. We didn't force enough turnovers, but that's probably due to the fact that Notre Dame had an outstanding offensive line and a good game plan.
I think it was a total team effort. I mean, offense made some mistakes in the second half, obviously, but, hey, that's why we're a team. Offense does what they have to do, so does the defense. But, hey, we're out there to make up for their mistakes, and they do the same for us. They came out and scored an early touchdown, which we needed in the second half. They protected us for the most part, I felt like, for the whole game.
We prepared like they were going to come in and play their best game, and that's exactly what they did. They were not going to give up, and we knew that coming in, and we knew it was going to be a 4th quarter game. And it came down to the 4th quarter, and we didn't do what we were supposed to do. I just give the credit to the defense. They stopped them, and late our last drive, we had a couple runs in there which sealed the game. But no, Notre Dame, I give them a lot of credit, and they're definitely better than a 1-3 team. They have guys that a lot of talent and a lot of guys that are not going to give up.
Okay, Rob. So Michigan now 3-0. That was non-conference, though. The goal of this team's always been Rose Bowl. Let's look to the Big Ten a little bit. I know you're talking about Indiana next week, but for a moment we'll get to analysis of that game. Any surprise teams in the Big Ten? Right now you got 5 teams, Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, Iowa, and Michigan State up there in the top 12. Any other teams that might be a shocker?
All of them are.
Those, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are it.
Those are the teams that, any that's on our schedule could be a shocker. And we can't look past Indiana. But I tell you what, with Iowa, Michigan State, Ohio State, and Penn State, boy, we really have our work cut out for us.
There was an article in the Daily today, and I was actually a little surprised about this. Coach Carr talking about a Big Ten conference championship game, kind of like the SEC and the Big 12 has. Your thoughts on that? If they were to add a 12th team to get you guys to have a final matchup for the Rose Bowl.
Oh, I think that'd be great. We're already the Big 10/11, so another team, make it the more the merrier.
One of the reasons for this proposal is not every team in the Big Ten plays each other team in the Big Ten. One of them is Iowa. Iowa doesn't play Michigan State this year. They don't play Penn State this year. Meanwhile, they're 3-0. They're number 1 in the country in total offense. All of a sudden, Tavian Banks has emerged as a Heisman candidate toward the top of the list, and Iowa plays Ohio State next week. And without playing some of those other games, a crucial game for them. Iowa and Ohio State, one of the games in the Big Ten. There's some other ones going on. John Black is here with a look at the Big Ten on Saturday. John.
Well, thank you, Dave. And there are a lot of good games this weekend, especially Iowa and Ohio State. It's the dandy of the weekend with 2 top 10 teams going at it. Ohio State is led at quarterback actually by 2 guys, as they have a double-headed quarterback in Joe Germain and Stanley Jackson. Stanley Jackson not too happy last week when he was taken out, but Joe Germain hit David Boston for the touchdown, and Ohio State right now has two quarterbacks that could step in at any time. Also, they have two running backs that could step in at any time. Michael Wiley has come in and stepped in, and he's done a great job replacing Pepe Pearson, so look out for a controversy there. The other side of the ball, Iowa, one name comes to mind, the Heisman candidate, Tavian Banks, already with 835 yards this year, 9 yards a carry, and 12 touchdowns. So far, no one has been able to put a stop to him, but maybe Ohio State will this weekend. Ohio State a 4-point favorite. I take them to win 23-17. And a couple of lesser games, Penn State and Illinois. Talk about a mismatch. Michael Query has yet to throw an interception this year, and Curtis Enos already 6 touchdowns. McQuarrie has a lot of guys to throw to, but Joe Jaravicius already has 14 catches, and he might get a few more in this game. Illinois' quarterback, 6 interceptions, just 3 touchdowns, so it's not going to be a close one here. Illinois, 25.5-point underdog, will lose 41-13. Another game that shouldn't be close, Michigan State and Minnesota. Michigan State's quarterback, Todd Schultz, has been doing a great job this year, as has their running back, Cedric Irvin. Irvin averaging 4.5 yards per carry. On the other side of the ball, it's up to Tutu Atwell to lead the receivers on the Gophers, but he won't do enough this week as Minnesota will lose 38-24. And finally, another pretty good game, not as big as Iowa and Ohio State, but Northwestern and Wisconsin. Wisconsin led by Ron Dane, another Heisman candidate. Last week, they barely beat Indiana on this field goal by Matt Davenport. This week, they look for a little more from their offense. Look for them to win 26-16. That's it. Back to you, Dave.
You gave predictions for each game on Saturday. How about, we're just starting the Big Ten season right now, a look overall. Who do you like?
Well, Dave, I've got to like the Michigan Wolverines. It's going to be a big battle when they face off against Penn State at the end of the year. And I think both teams will be undefeated. I think that will decide the Rose Bowl.
All right, but for the Rose Bowl for Michigan, thanks, John. It starts on Saturday. It starts in Madison. Well, Madison's Wisconsin. It'll start in, where do they play? Bloomington. Bloomington, Indiana. Michigan and Indiana going up. Indiana 0-1 in the Big Ten. You saw the clip there from John losing to Wisconsin. 1-3 overall. You've watched some film about Indiana. What can we expect from them on Saturday?
Well, like you said, they're 0-1 in the Big Ten right now, and we have to take pride in understanding that, when Michigan steps onto the field, that any of the opposing teams are going to try and do whatever they can to beat us. And a couple of the coaches for Indiana are products of Michigan, so they know a few things about the Michigan tradition and the Michigan teams. So I think we can expect a lot of trick plays and a lot of abracadabra, type things. So we need to be ready, and we can't underestimate them at all. They're big, they're physical, and we just need to get out there and play Michigan football.
Have you guys looked at any trick plays or set up for anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. They got some stuff in their repertoire.
Like what? Give it to us, Rob.
Hey, you just have to tune in on Saturday and see it.
Michigan struggled a little bit defensively on Saturday. What was learned from you guys on that side of the ball?
Well, that a lot of people were talking about possibly not giving up any touchdowns this season, and this showed us, and we knew that was going to happen. So it was good to have the opportunity to have our offense score and to pull this game out, but to experience that we are going to have teams score against us, and that we have to regroup, we have to stay as a tight-knit unit, and that we can rebound from anything that's going to happen.
All right, well, good luck to you guys on Saturday. The road to Pasadena starts Saturday against Indiana. Michigan and Indiana kickoff is 12:30. Enjoy the game, everybody. We'll see you next week. For John Black and Rob Renis, I'm Dave Rosenbluth. So long, everybody.
certainly with administrators, and I think most certainly with our regents, and for students who are paying attention too. I'm getting a little sign held up by a friend saying that, yes, indeed, the presidential debates will be broadcast on WCBN Tuesday from 6 to 8, so those of you who want to make enlightened decisions at the polls can listen on WCBN and hear what each of the presidential candidates put forth as their platform.
I think sort of some of the things that the fact that there is a student presence at the Regents table has been a reflection of MSA's work over the years, and that there has been a passing of an issue on from one presidency to the next, which has really strengthened it and provided a base of consistency. And I think all of that helps when each new president, when there are some things that are important and continuous that comes out of MSA on behalf of students, because it continues to build momentum and people get a sense of we need to do this, and then you see change occurring. So I just think it's critically important that students are involved and that they own the university. Well, let me say it differently. They own the university, that they possess it, that it becomes theirs, and that they expect the responsiveness. Because that's how we stay a strong and healthy institution, that we really do need all the voices. And I think it's critical. I think it's critical and important.
We agree.
Yeah.
We concur.
I think the point that Royster made about passing on an issue from sort of generation to generation of student presidents is an important piece, because our students who are in governance positions are to some extent in a major disadvantage because they're only in them a year. And some of them get senioritis really badly in sort of March of that period. But in all seriousness, the students only have a year to make their point, where the rest of us are in our positions much longer than that. We've had the steep learning curve. We can see something to fruition. I think it makes the student government position holder feel a little better, thinking if you haven't finished something, that you can pass it on to the next group and knowing that they'll take it up and keep it moving as an issue. I know child care has been a particular issue of Fiona's, and I think she's pushed us to make important strides. I hope that continues to be a focus and a pressure from MSA on all of us.
And I think the pushing that you did could not have come from any place else. I mean, I think that there is a different framing of the issue. It can be an issue we agree on, and could even be the same issue, but that students have a way of framing it that often is